Patience.
I have none of it.
Safety.
Laura, you starting to climb or what?
I'm wiping
Safety, safety.
She's slow.
To be fair, safety checks first.
Yeah, here you go. First tips.
First tips, safety checks. Always do your safety checks. In fact, A, B, C, D. There's a whole lot of them.
Hey guys, welcome to a new video from NZ Pocket Guide. Today we're going to be talking about the tips if you want to climb here in New Zealand. So we are in beautiful Midwall in the heart of the Tongariro National Park. And I'm with my friend Sinova right here. And she's a climbing expert, right?
Yes.
And so we're going to go over 5 tips that you need to know if you're planning on doing any climbing in New Zealand. Alright, so let's get started with tip number 1. Where do you find people to climb with? Because nobody's going to go climb on their own, right? So how do you find friends to go climb with?
Yeah, definitely don't go climbing on your own. That is very much rule number 1. If you want to find people to climb with, a really good place to start is your local indoor climbing gym. So a lot of the people that are climbing at your local gym are keen climbers. They probably go outdoors as well. They're in the local gym to train up or on bad weather days when outdoors isn't an option. Another good place is your local climbing Facebook pages. So if you just jump on wherever you are, so if you're around Taupo, you can go Taupo climbing. If you're around Turangi and South Tongariro climbing. Or if you're in Christchurch, it's probably a Christchurch climbing Facebook page. I haven't checked that one, but it probably exists.
All right, so speaking of climbing wall, so you own a climbing wall, right, here in central North Island. Do you want to tell us about it? A bit of a plug?
Yeah, so me and my husband own the Turangi Climbing Gym. So if you're ever around, pop in. We have heaps of members who love outdoor climbing, as do we. So chances are someone has an outdoor trip planned that you can probably jump on.
All right, so when you want to come to New Zealand and do a little bit of climbing, do you have to bring all your gears or not?
Well, all of your gear is quite heavy. It'll probably take a lot of your luggage allowance. You should probably bring your climbing shoes and harness and possibly a couple of quick draws. If you're climbing as a pair, you only need 1 rope between 2, so chances are you can find someone else who wants to climb who has some of the gear that you're missing. Also, if you're Australian, you might be used to carrying around a whole bunch of bolt plates. You don't really need those in New Zealand. In New Zealand, we bolt with the bolt plates already in the wall, so don't bother with those.
Is it easy to buy any climbing gear in New Zealand if you need some?
It can be a bit tricky to track down. There's Bryce's Rock Climbing, which is in the middle, sort of about an hour north of Lake Taupo, which has a good selection. Otherwise, gyms might carry a limited range, so for our gym, we carry some of the basics, but if you're really after shopping for shoes or something, you're probably best to bring your own. It's hard to find.
I can feel the struggle right here.
It's really hard to find good gear sometimes. New Zealand's a bit out of the way. We don't quite have all the suppliers that the rest of the world do.
All right, so speaking of things which are hard to find, where can you find the best climbs in your area? What are the best spots to actually find where to go climbing?
So we've got a couple of really good websites. We've got thecrag.com has quite a lot, and then there's NZClimb and freeclimb.org.nz. There's also guidebooks that you can buy around the place. Again, they can be a bit tricky to track down. I think Bryce carries a couple, but in general, your best bet is the interwebs.
So on those websites, what kind of information will you be able to find on each of the areas?
So it'll tell you how to access different crags, how many climbs there are, what grades they are, difficulty, any safety issues you need to be aware of. Also, for most of the routes, they'll have the number of bolts, so you'll know how many quick draws you need to complete the climb, that sort of thing.
All right, cool. So the next tip that we were talking about was, I didn't forget at all, about, I think I forgot. Damn.
Good crags for different.
Oh yeah. Do you want to give me some recommendations of a good place to climb? Sorry.
So if you're just getting into climbing and sort of at a beginner level, looking for some easier climbs to jump on, then a really good crag is K1 at Kinloch. So that's got a really easy approach where it's just 5-minute walk from your car to the crag. Very, very gentle climbing there.
Okay,
For
intermediate.
intermediate level, I would recommend here, Meads Wall. We've got from about a grade 16 to a 21, some really beautiful rock. You'll have a good time.
And for super expert, I really want to challenge myself and, you know.
So for the masochists out there, we have White Falls, which is just around the corner from here. It's also in the Tongariro National Park, but that is cripplingly difficult. If you're climbing into the high 20s, early 30s, that'll be the place for you.
Wow, all right. Okay, and the last one I have, and I definitely remember this one, is what can you do to kind of still respect the planet when doing climbing around? Is there anything that you would like to tell people? Because most of the climbs are going to be in reserve, department, conservation land, or even national parks.
Yeah, so obviously if you're climbing in a national park rules apply. There are also a bunch of crags on private land around New Zealand, and it's just, if you want to maintain access to those places, you've got to treat them with respect. So always pick up your litter, minimize impact as much as you can. A lot of the privately owned crags or the national parks do have public bathrooms that you can use, so make sure you use them. Don't leave your literal crap around. But yeah, basically just treat it as you would your own backyard.
Another quick extra tip, do you have to pay to go climb in national parks in New Zealand? Do you have to pay an entry fee to go inside national parks?
The vast majority of the crags around New Zealand are free. You can just come and climb. There's a couple of exceptions, but they're very minimal. It's like a $10 koha, which is a donation essentially to upkeep of facilities. So there's a couple of crags with flushing toilets, which is a luxury out here. So
Nice.
I reckon that's worth your $10 entry fee.
Alright guys, so if you did find this video useful, make sure to hit like and subscribe. If you want to check those guys out, you can head to the Turangi Climbing Gym during your trip in New Zealand, and maybe you'll get to come here with them to climb. And there is another video on this channel about Meads Wall right here, when we have her husband Josh telling us all about this, but the video is less good because that's not Cineva. And yeah, so hit like, subscribe. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can, and yeah, share this video with other people that love climbing. Bye bye. How are you doing, Laura?
Hasn't left the
I
ground.
succeeded.
Oh, you did.
Did you?
Nice.
Wow, that's amazing.
Up and
That
down.
was really fast.
Really?
What?
Did you go all the way up? Wow. Okay. Well, that was
We
amazing.
missed all of it.
Yeah, well,
Do it again. Do it again.
It's uphill.
Did you guys see it?